Hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have game number 4 between SlayerSMiya and SlayerSArthur versus Millennium's Yogo and LoveGeek. So if you have not seen game number 1, game number 2, or game number 3, go ahead and check those out in the annotations below. But if you are still here, I'm going to assume you have, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak, we have the pink Protoss player representing Team France. It is LoveGeek, the female Protoss player, playing on Yogo's account. And she is currently up 2-1 in this best of 5 series. If she manages to win this game against SlayerSMiya, it's going to put the best of 5 series into her team's favor. But her opponent, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, is going to be the blue Zerg, and currently down 1-2. It is SlayerSMiya playing on SlayerSMin's account. We're going to have to wait and see. This is the first game that we have seen in this best of 5 series from the HP Trophy number 2 that has actually not been a mirror matchup. That is, in fact, true. Now, game number 1 was, in fact, a 2 versus 2, which is a Protoss Zerg versus a Protoss Zerg. Game number 2 was, in fact, a Protoss versus Protoss, and game number 3 was a Zerg versus Zerg. So finally, we have a Protoss versus Zerg. We're going to have to wait and see how these players are going to end up playing this out. Now, we do end up seeing that spawning pool going down first for SlayerSMiya. That's pretty normal. You do want to get out with that spawning pool first so that your natural just doesn't get completely cannoned up by this annoying and pesky little probe. In the meanwhile, looks like LoveGeek is going to be going for that Forge Fast Expand. And yeah, everything looking pretty normal so far. And just a little bit of a note, it looks like so I just want to say, game number 2 was in fact LoveGeek's game, and LoveGeek actually ended up losing that game after trying a very, very risky proxy in-base proxy gateway, and it ended up getting scattered out by SlayerSArthur in that PvP, and it ended up not working out. So we're gonna have to wait and see. It looks like this game though, LoveGeek looking to play a little bit more standard, going for that Forge first, being very safe, as a lot of players have started to come to this decision that, especially on a map as long as Daybreak, that you can go for that Nexus first instead of going for the Forge first. But we do end up seeing a nice little safe play, and actually a little bit of a pause there going on, not a big deal. But we do end up seeing this drone chasing this probe, and this probe really wants to see is that third or that natural expansion hatchery, the second hatchery, you guys know what I'm talking about, if it's going to go down over at that third. And it looks like this probe is going to likely get picked off. No, actually just ends up surviving, and that first expansion does end up going out. We're going to come back to this probe and see whether or not it's actually going to go back and do any kind of annoying cannoning action. That is one of the advantages in going for that Forge first. You do have the opportunity to do that, and actually interesting wall off coming out from LoveGeek, not really going for the wall off straight along this line over here, but instead going around and trying to connect it over to that Nexus. That can be a very interesting decision, as it will allow some Zerglings to maybe slip by in and come around, do a little bit of harassment in this little mineral line. I think that most of the mineral line should be covered by a cannon, but still some potential for some harassment is going to be available. We're going to see whether or not SlayerSMiya is going to take advantage of it. Now, we do end up seeing those 3 very fast hatcheries that we normally end up seeing out of a Zerg when they encounter a Forge Fast Expand, but more importantly, we end up seeing no gas geysers being taken, so that is going to allow LoveGeek to do a little bit of pressure play if she so desires with a single stalker or even that first initial zealot. But in the meanwhile, we do see those 2 gas geysers being taken. That's pretty normal. The more big question is going to be, when are these 2 gas geysers going to be taken? As that's going to really key off as to see what exactly LoveGeek is thinking about doing in this game. What kind of pressure is she going to be thinking about applying? Or is she going to be thinking about taking a very early, maybe 8 to 10 minute expansion? Now, a couple of Zerglings are going to be sitting out over here. Doesn't look like they have speed just yet. No, it doesn't look like they have speed, and they're going to go ahead and poke around. Be very careful. He doesn't want to lose these Zerglings, as losing them means he has to go ahead and remake them if he wants to get any scouting information off. And this Zealot going to do its best to try and delay any of these Zerglings from coming out. But now we do end up seeing they do get chased off. And the Zealot very, very angry, out for blood. The cannon actually ended up killing off one of these Zerglings, but it's not going to be a big deal. And the Zergling is going to go ahead and happily scout around the map for any potential proxy pylons. Now, we do end up seeing the third and fourth gas geysers being taken from LoveGeek, and that is going to mean this is pretty late, so I don't expect any kind of really big kind of Stargate play or anything. So we're going to have to wait and see what kind of aggression LoveGeek is looking to put on, or if it's going to be once again that early third expansion. I'm starting to believe that we might be seeing a couple more gateways being thrown down very, very soon. There is one, there is two. Would like to see maybe a third. There we do. Yep, there's the third gateway. So it looks like 3 gateways are being thrown down. That's pretty normal. And we do actually end up seeing that Stalker. Oh, 2 Stalkers and a Zealot are going to be moving out across the map. No, just going to be poking around over here. Maybe try and see if they can catch an Overlord out. And in the meanwhile, we do end up seeing that one Zergling. Is he actually going to encounter this Stalker and Zealot? It's going to be very close. No, looks like the Stalkers and Zealots are going to be moving down around. Oh, no, it looks like... Ooh, unfortunately, just barely missing it. Could be a little bit nice to see and catch the little Zergling. It's going to force a little bit more out of SlayerSMiya, but at the same time, SlayerSMiya would get wind of this little bit of aggression. But then meanwhile, we do see 12 Zerglings on their way out, and speed just starting. This is a super duper late speed, as it looks like SlayerSMiya felt very, very comfortable knowing that there was no real big aggression coming out. But we do see the proxy pylon getting established, and these 3 gateways are going to be, should be morphed into warp gates. They are just now getting morphed into warp gates. And of course, this is going to just be some light 4-gate aggression. You know, you might be thinking 4-gate, that sounds pretty cheesy. No, but this is just a very delayed 4-gate aggression that you do after a Forge Fast Expand. You can put on a little bit of pressure, force out a couple of units. Not really looking to end the game by any means with this, but we do end up seeing these Stalkers poking in, and these Zerglings, they could get a huge surround that actually be really, really bad for LoveGeek. Oh no, the Stalkers actually do get surrounded by those Zerglings, and now with the Roaches coming in, it's going to be very, very difficult for LoveGeek to come back. She wanted to keep alive all of these units as long as possible and try and put on as much aggression as possible with these units and try and just play it as safe as possible. But unfortunately ends up using all the units at almost no cost. Oh no, that's going to put LoveGeek so far behind. Actually, just look at the supply count. We can already see with all these Roaches popping in, it's 118 supply down to just 50. So that does mean that even with these Immortals, and oh man, there are going to be a couple Stalkers warped and everything, but we can see SlayerSMiya knows he just killed a huge portion of LoveGeek's army, and that's going to put LoveGeek in a very, very precarious situation, as LoveGeek definitely wants to start to catch up and be able to power some of that economy up, get some of that tech up. But at the same time, she has to be ready for that big counter-aggression attack. And we do end up seeing the Roaches and Zerglings coming in. And look at this, droning up behind it, teching up to Infestors in the meanwhile. But we do end up seeing the Roaches coming in. They're going to start target firing down that cannon. There goes one of the force fields, trying to force field some of those Zerglings in so that they don't have to deal with the entire army. But in the meanwhile, we do see a lot of the buildings getting attacked. All of the cannons are now pretty much down. And this one Immortal is going to be working away at some of those Zerglings. But in the meanwhile, that big pylon is going to be taken down. Sorry, the Forge is going to be taken down. That's going to allow some of those Roaches to move into the natural expansion. And in the meanwhile, even though there is that 1 sentry, laying down those force fields is not going to matter as the units start to move up into the main. And oh no, LoveGeek's going to be in a huge amount of trouble as all of these Roaches come in, and they're going to be able to do some huge damage over at that main nexus. And now we do see a reinforcing Zergling is going to come in, start to delay this army from being able to reinforce in the main. And now that nexus is definitely going to go down. The robotics bay is also going to be very, very vulnerable, as even though the robotics facility is over at the natural, is going to be able to produce that 1 Colossus. But I say 1 Colossus because it's going to be very difficult as these Zerglings are going to start picking away at that robotics bay. It's going to be very difficult to get out a second one. Not to mention, LoveGeek is going to be so far behind at this point, losing that main expansion, and now we do see the Colossus popping out, but it's already getting target fired actually down by Zerglings. That's not something you see every day, a Colossus potentially going down to just pure Zerglings. There's going to be the GG. So very well played by both these players, but unfortunately LoveGeek really just not able to keep up with the micro in that big engagement, or that LoveGeek tried to do a little bit of pressure. Maybe should have been thinking about expanding behind it or something, since it was just a pure 4-gate aggression. Well, it looks like she quickly tried to tech up to those Colossus, but it really just did not end up working out. She got a lot of her units caught out of position and got that big surround with those Zerglings. So SlayerSMiya able to take that army, able to just go in with a big counter attack and go ahead and do a bunch of teching and droning up behind it, and was able to secure the win, honestly, pretty easily. So that is going to bring this to a tie once again. This is 2-2. This is a best of 5, so that means there's only 1 game left. There's only 1 more game that is going to basically decide the fate of who ends up winning this best of 5 series, who's going to come out ahead in this group. And yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into it. I'm going to have the annotation somewhere around in the top or bottom right hand corner as always. So hopefully you guys enjoy my commentary. Like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff. Now let's go ahead and jump to game number 5. I'll see you guys.